Games that print to the console not only look very old school, but are awkward to run outside of the development environment. Today I'll show you how to use a superclass, DIYWindow, to print text to a window instead of the Java console, and how to get Quick Fix to suggest solutions for coding errors. In most cases, with the click of a button, Quick Fix can actually fix the errors for you. Hi, I'm Annette Gotland. I'm the author of the Do-It-Yourself Java Games books. I teach Java programming through creating games. Welcome to the video version of my books. We're currently in the Text Games video series, TG, the first of 4 types of games series. The focus of this series is to cover the fundamentals of Java programming. This series has 16 projects. We're currently working on the first project, TG1, Hello World. This is lesson TG1.2, where you'll learn about superclasses, how to print to a window, and how to use Quick Fix to easily fix errors in your code. Before doing this lesson, be sure to download gamesresources.zip from www.gotlandsoftware.com, DIY Java Games. Extract the files into your Eclipse workspace folder as instructed in the setup video. One of the files in the zip file is DIYjava.jar. That jar file contains the DIYWindow class used in all the rest of the Text Games videos. Any class may name some other class as its superclass. Programs intended to run in a window must name some type of window class as its superclass. The DIYWindow class is a type of window. In this lesson, follow along as we extend Hello World with the DIYWindow class as its superclass. Doing so will make it possible for Hello World to print to a window instead of the console. Right-click on the Hello World project in the Package Explorer. Choose Build Path and Configure Build Path. And here, choose Libraries, Class Path, Add External Jars. If you extracted the files from the Games Resources zip file, you should have a file named DIYjava.jar in your Eclipse workspace. So select that, click Open, and it is now part of the class path. We're going to apply and close. Next, we're going to modify the source so the Hello World class extends the DIYWindow class. So type in extends DIYWindow space. Now if I save my file, you'll see many error indicators. Luckily, Eclipse makes it easy to identify the errors and fix them. There's an error symbol here by problems. I can click that and it shows that there's one error. It shows there's errors in the class, in the package, in the source files, in the project. And it shows that there's an error on this line. And here it shows you what the actual word that the error is on. Now, if that didn't happen to be on the screen, you could come down and always double click the error message and it'll take the cursor right to where the error was. If I rest my cursor on that error, it pops up some suggestions for how to fix it. This is Quick Fix. And what I want it to do, what I need it to do is import DIYWindow from com.godsoft DIY Java. So select that. Now it added an import statement. This is no longer marked as an error. If I save changes here, all the error indicators go away. I've had at least one occasion when Quick Fix didn't list the import DIYWindow option after properly adding the DIYjava jar file to the project. If that happens to you, close and open Eclipse, then try again. And we can run the program. Now what happened is it did open a new window. It didn't print anything in there, but it did print Hello World down in the console still. Close the window.
It's still not working the way we would like, but before we fix that, I want you to try another coding error just to get a little more comfortable with using Quick Fix. What happens if you make another kind of typing mistake?
Let's say you typed in this code yourself. And when I told you to type in system out print line, you typed it in as PRINTLINE. Save changes. Now the error is on this line. If I rest my cursor on it, it will suggest changing it to either print or print line. And that fixed the typing error.
Whenever you run into any kind of error, your best next step is to see if Quick Fix can identify the error and suggest a fix for you. Let's finally get the program to print to the Do-It-Yourself Java Games window.
What I want you to change next is change the system out print line to just simply print, P-R-I-N-T. If I save changes and run it again, it opens up the window, and it did print Hello World in that window, and it did not print it down here in the console.
System out print line is designed to print to the console. To print to the Do-It-Yourself Java Games window, you must call print. Print is a method that is made available through the DIYWindow class and is specifically coded to print to the Do-It-Yourself Java Games window. Now let's move on to some lessons to explore printing a little more. I'll show you some listings with blanks for you to fill in. The lines of code to change are all marked in bold. Instructions for what you should change are in a blue box. Pause the video if you need more time to make the code changes. If you're unsure how to change the code, or if you don't get the results you expected, see the completed listings at the end of this video. What would you have to change in your class to make it say hello to you? Save the program and run it. Did it say hello to you? Change the code to make your program say this: "Hello, Earthling, take me to your leader." Save and run the program. Did it print the correct lines? If not, fix the code and try again. What do you think you would have to print to put a blank line between the two sentences as shown? Hint, you want nothing printed on that line. Save and run the program. Did it print the blank line between the other two lines? You can always look at the completed listings at the end of the video if you want to see how I would have changed the code. Key points and more. Superclasses. Use a superclass to allow your class to use all the features available in that superclass. For example, any class that uses DIYWindow as its superclass will create a text window when the program is run. You may use print and input methods provided by DIYWindow to print and to get input from that text window. We'll introduce the input method in Project 3, Name Game. Every class must have a superclass. If none are specified, the class will use Java's object class as a default superclass. So basically, every class is some type of Java object. Any class can be used as a superclass. You'll create a class to use as a superclass in a later lesson. Classes with the same superclass are considered to be of the same type. For example, the main class you create for every program in the text game series will use the DIYWindow class as its superclass. So every program in this series will be a type of DIYWindow. Therefore, every program in this series may use DIYWindow's print method to print the DIYWindow. You specify a superclass for an existing class by adding extends to the class definition. For example, to extend a class named myClass with another class named another class, do this. Public class my class extends another class. Key points and more. Access DIYWindow. DIYWindow is in DIYjava.jar. You should have downloaded the gamesresources.zip file at www.gotlandsoftware.com DIY Java Games and exported its contents to your Eclipse workspace folder. To make DIYWindow available to a class, you must add DIYjava.jar to the project's class path. Right-click on the project in the Package Explorer. Click Build Path, Configure Build Path. Click Libraries, Class Path, Add External Jars. Select the DIYjava.jar file in your Eclipse workspace. Click Apply and Close. To access DIYWindow from the class, extend DIYWindow as a superclass of your class. For example, public class my class extends DIYWindow. Import DIYWindow using Quick Fix. I will not be reminding you to import class files. Anytime you get an error that a class cannot be resolved to a type and you know you entered the correct class name, use Quick Fix to import the file. Key points and more. Do you have to use the DIYWindow for my games? DIYWindow is not part of core Java. DIYWindow is a class I created to make it easy for me to teach the fundamentals of Java programming while printing to a window, without the student needing to understand the huge complexities of writing code to create your own window. DIYWindow is only used in the text games series of my videos. You will learn to create your own windows in the graphical games series. If you prefer to only use core Java code as you go through my text games series, complete the following. Don't add DIYjava.jar to your build path. Don't extend your class definition with DIYWindow. Don't import DIYWindow. Use system.out.println wherever my games use print. The disadvantages of using system.out.println instead of DIYWindow's print are: running the games outside of Eclipse is more complex. I'll show you how to export your programs so you may easily run them outside of Eclipse and share them with friends in Project TG2 ASCII Art. Cursor placement does not work as well when printing and getting input from the console. Key points and more. Using the Do-It-Yourself Java Games window. The displayed window uses a default font size of 12. The window menu has an option to change the size of the font after the window is opened. To change the default font size used for any of the programs in this book, call Set Font Size at the beginning of the program's constructor. For example, to change the default font size for Hello World to 18, use the code shown here. To copy text out of the window, drag your mouse across the text and press Ctrl-C. In later lessons, you'll write code to get input from this window. When the program asks for input from the window, you may type text into the window or paste text into the window using Ctrl-V. Key points and more. Errors and quick fix. Syntax errors will be identified as you enter code. When you save changes, the Problems pane will show the total number of errors found. Double-click the error count in the Problems pane to see descriptions of the errors found. To open Quick Fix for an error, either double-click the error description in the Problems pane to take your cursor directly to the error, or rest your cursor on the actual error. Quick Fix will list a variety of ways to fix the selected problem. Select a fix from Quick Fix, or close Quick Fix and correct the error yourself. Key points and more. Code listings. How to read my code listings. The listings have fill-in blanks to allow you to write much of the program code yourself. But don't worry, if you're unsure of how to fill in the blanks, see the answers in the completed listings at the end of the video. Changes to make to code are always shown in bold in the listings. Instructions to remove blocks of code from the listings will appear in italics and parentheses. Instructions for what to change in the code are provided in a blue box like this. Always remove the automatically generated comment lines Eclipse adds every time it creates a new class. Unless you have syntax errors or I tell you not to, save and run your program after you make the changes from each code listing. Completed listings are provided at the end of the video for your reference. Feel free to complete the listings differently than what is shown in the completed listings if your code does the same thing or if you like what your code does better. Here are the completed listings for all the listings in this video. This is the end of the second lesson in the Hello World project. Your program successfully displayed several versions of greetings in a text window. In the next lesson, TG1.2, we'll explore the advantages of putting your text into string variables.